How awesome is a game that has this sort of resolution display mode? Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is quite probably my favourite game of all time. This is Starflight. If the screen ever updates. Copyright 1987. Yes, I really am that old. This is in multiple colours too, which is really awesome because last time I played this, when I was but a wee lad, I could only play it in CGA 4 colours, and that was terrible. Dig that PC speaker sound there. Copyright, we don't care. It's amusing if you want to read it, pause it. But anyway, here we are. Starflight. Very old game, 1987 as it said. We'll go into operations here. This is where we start. This is all keyboard obviously, no mouse support. Notices. 1st of January 4620, you are about to embark on your first mission. In your bank account you will find the amount of 12,000 monetary units. This money is to be spent training your crew, configuring your ship and purchasing any necessary materials. Of course, you may wish to leave some portion of this in the bank to earn interest. This is acceptable. At this stage of the operation, our primary goal is to gather information. Consequently, your objectives are 1. Seek out and explore strange new worlds. 2. Boldly go where no man has gone before. 3. Establish contact with any sentience. 4. Capture and bring back non-sentient life forms. 5. Record alien life form data. 6. Bring back alien artifacts. 7. Bring back any valuable minerals, including Endurium. 8. Keep from getting brutally killed. Always an important thing. We have little information to offer concerning what you might find. We suggest, however, that you avoid the area of space around the coordinates 135 by 84, since that is where we lost contact with 2 of our earlier ships. Scout reports indicate a high density of minerals in the mountainous regions of the innermost planet of our system. Important early game information. Further, we have found information that leads us to believe that there may be some ruins of the old empire at coordinates 17 north by 162 east on the second planet of the neighbouring K-class system. We have also received some indication of alien activity in the system 175 by 94. Good luck and a safe return. And that's all the messages there are. Now, you start off this game, you really don't know what's going on. There's a mention of old empire there. The manual does indeed have a bit of background information. Essentially, the old empire was, we humans, we spread out from the planet and we conquered much large regions of the galaxy. And then there was a great catastrophe. The empire collapsed. We are currently on the planet we're orbiting the planet Arth. Not Earth, but Arth. We've only just rediscovered spaceflight. There are many different life form or sentient races available to us. And this is our crew. We'll create our crew here. We've got, obviously, humans. We've got insectoid Veloxi. We've got reptilian Thrin. We've got plant-based Elowan. And there are androids. You can also meet, other than humans, you can meet these other races, the remnants of their own empires as well as our empire out in the wider galaxy, but that's not going to happen for a while. So I'm going to create, I'll explain a little bit. Vitality is obviously how, if it gets to 0 they die. Durability is how much damage they take if they get hit by anything, and learn rate is how fast they can increase their skills. And the important things about the skills: science, navigation, engineering, communications and medicine. 5 different skills, all of them important in their own way. Early game, the most important is science. Probably second most important is navigation, depending on if you want to go exploring very early or not. These values, 50, 30, 0, there should be a 10 somewhere. Yeah, some 10s. How much you start, the maximum you can go to is 250, but the maximum is also limited based on your starting skill. If you start with a skill of 50, you can train up to 250. If you start with 30, you can train up to 200. I believe if you start with 10, you can go up to 150, and if you start with 0, I think you can only get to 100. So basically 50 is the best you want to go with, 30 is the second best. Androids are a special case. They start off with high navigation, but they have a learn rate of 0, so you can't train them at all. Anyway, what we are going to do, first we'll create our captain, and I have to type all this in manually, by the way. Captain Hollister. We are going to get our science officer. Now, humans obviously are the only one with a 50 starting in the only ones with a 50 that can actually be trained. So we'll have a human, and we will call you Kachansky. Navigation, we'll go with a Veloxy. You can be Rimmer. Engineering, again, Veloxys have the best there, so you can be Lister. Now, communications and medicine. You would think, looking at this, that Thrin are very good at communication, and Elwyn are good at communication and medicine. However, those two races don't like each other at all. Now, in terms of your game, it makes no difference. Obviously, the citizens of the old empire managed to outgrow these ancient racial hatreds, but you can meet Thrin and Elwyn out in the galaxy, and if they detect that you've got one of the other race on board your ship, they will instantly start shooting at you, and that can potentially be bad. Now, if memory serves, as far as the game itself goes, you don't actually need to go down to their territory, so you can get away with having Thrin and Elwyn on board if you want. However, for me personally, I like to go with humans. So, because they've got the second highest, they're pretty durable, they've got a good learn rate, and 200 is enough. Especially, medicine is not hugely important, unless you find yourself in a lot of fights. Communications you can actually increase. First of all, your captain, the higher his skill, the better off. There's some hidden internal number, I don't know what it actually is, but the manual says that if your captain's fully trained up, then each of your other officers will get a slight boost to their skill. There's also an artifact you can get to improve your communications. So, in terms of communications, we'll go for a human, who will be the cat. Who have we got left? We got a doctor, who is going to be human, and who is going to have to be Holly. And purely for completeness sake, we're going to have an android called Crichton. You don't need 7 crew members. In fact, you can probably get away with 1 doing everything if you really wanted, but it's not advisable. This could be useful as a backup crew member. It doesn't cost you anything to use them anyway. So, we will start training up. Now, I found all my notes from nearly 30 odd years ago of what I'm going to start off with. So, we are going to train up our science officer, in science obviously. We'll do 15 of them now. Costs $300 each training session, and each training session increases their skill by their learn rate. So that puts that up to 185. And the second most important one I've got is navigation, in the early game at least. So we will bung you up 20 sessions because your learn rate's only 6. That makes you better than Crichton as a navigator. That's fine. That's all for that. Now, that's probably not the most appropriate names for each position, but since we don't have things like chicken soup vending machine repairman, we have to make do with what we've got. Now, ship configuration. We start off with engines, and that's it. We definitely need some cargo pods. We'll buy 3 of them. That takes all our cash. We do have to name. I think it's fairly obvious what the name's going to be. Alright, so what else do we have in Starport here? Trade depot. Obviously, there's nothing here. Buy. These here, titanium, promethium, molybdenum, cobalt, and aluminium are your repair minerals, but you can find them, you don't need to buy them. Endurium is your fuel. You can find endurium, but it's not very common. And these artifacts are ones that are already here. We don't have anything to sell. The flat device. Project a shield around your terrain vehicle, which makes it difficult for dangerous life forms to attack you. That's worth having later on, but 15,000 is money we could better spend elsewhere at the moment. And the Winding Orb. This was found in the underground colony. We're not sure what it does. What is does. We think it has something to do with communication. That is the artifact I mentioned earlier. I believe it increases your communication skill slightly. So that will be worth getting when we go a bit more exploring out into the galaxy. Bank. Well, you don't really need to worry about that too much. And finally, crew assignment. So, our Captain Hollister, Science Officer Kachansky, Navigator Rimmer, Engineer Lister, Communications Cat, and Dr. Holly. And obviously Crichton's just there as a backup. Now, that's basically it for the start. Now, let's see, there were a few. Yeah, that's the early game. So, what can I say? Science Officer gives you basically. Oh, why don't we go into the docking bay and have a look what they. Now, I remember when I first played this game, that little teleport animation there could take in excess of 20 seconds. So it's greatly sped up on modern hardware. So this is our ship. This is going to be the mainstay of our user interface. It's a keyboard. You're just going to have to live with it. Actually, Starflight 2 I played on the Amiga, and that did have mouse support, and it was actually much easier. So if anybody happens to remake this game, hint hint, all you really need to do is add some mouse support. And by the way, I am familiar with Starflight, The Lost Colony, just in case you were wondering. I haven't really played much with it, so I'm not going to pass any comment on that just yet. Now, up at the top right there, we've got our status. It's the date. I think it's day 1, hour 0, month 1, year 4620. No damage, 10% cargo, 20 cubic meters of endurium. Shields are down, weapons are unarmed. That says wep, not heap. This font is not necessarily the easiest thing to read. Our captain gives us our orders like launch, disembark, check our cargo. There's nothing in there. Log planet we'll discuss later. Ship's log is just for making a few notes. It's, yeah, don't really need to worry about that at all. Go back to the bridge. Science Officer. Sensors that you can scan when you're in orbit. Scan enemy ships when you're in an encounter. I don't think... Yeah, there's nothing there. They'll give you basic readings of what you're scanning. Analysis will give you more information about the latest sensor reading. Status will just bring up this status screen that was already there. Navigator. Maneuver is just flying around. Star map, you have to be actually in interstellar space. That brings up the map of the local area of the galaxy. Your navigator does all your combat, so raise and lower shields, arm, disarm weapons, and combat is to actually enter combat mode. If you're in an encounter, you can maneuver. If you go into combat, you can then fight. Engineer basically only does repairs your stuff. That's all. If you're in ship-to-ship combat, your ship might get damaged. Your engineer repairs it. Comms officer. That's to hail, other ships that you encounter in space. A distress call will tow you back to Starport. That costs a lot of money, so try and avoid doing that. And the doctor, if your crew get injured, you can examine them and then you can treat them, and then blah blah blah. So that's all there is to do about that. They mentioned the mountainous region of the innermost planet, I think it said, so we will launch now. It's going to ask for a code. Yes, now I have the original, so I've got the code wheel right here in front of me. This version that I'm actually playing I bought off GOG.com, GOG.com. Well worth getting in my opinion. It was only $3.50 for Starflight 1 and 2 bundled together. Much cheaper, quicker and easier than trying to find an old floppy drive and plug it into my PC here. So the GOG version actually comes with a little app that has all this included, but I've got the code wheel right in front of me. So Arth, Whining Orb, spin this around here to there, then we look up Gazertoid, and the code is 46570. Yes. Now, if you get the code wrong, it will still let you launch, but sooner or later, probably sooner rather than later, you will end up getting caught up to by the interstellar police. And if you try to fight them, it's probably will end up in your death. So, yeah, don't do that. Right, this is our solar system view. On the left there is our ship. There's a planet there. There's the sun over here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Yep. Way too fast. I'm used to the very old, well, used to, you know, from 27 something years ago, but you know what I mean. So here is where I can show you our science officer. We'll get a sensor reading of this. The mass doesn't really matter. The biosphere is how many life forms, and the mineral is the... I don't know if it's a percentage or... It's just some sort of rating of how many mineral deposits you'll find. 23 is fairly... meh. You probably wouldn't want to land to mine on anything much lower than that. Yeah, our atmosphere is fluorine and chlorine, hydrosphere is water, and the minerals we're likely to find are chromium, promethium and tungsten. Do an analysis of that sensor reading. Analysis of our sensor reading object is a planet. First orbit number, there are 8 orbit slots in each solar system. Predominant surface is rock, gravity is 0.04 g, very thin atmosphere, very hot surface temperature, and no weather to speak of. So what we can do, if your science officer has a low skill, a lot of those variables will just come up as unknown. So it's that's what training your science officer needs is it for. It's you don't want to land on something that's higher than 8 Gs. I think the manual says is will crush your ship. But anyway, we'll land here. We'll select the site now. This is the topographical map. On the right there is the scale. The white up the top is the highest altitude and it slowly goes down. The yellow is the lowest ground altitude and the blue on the bottom is the hydrosphere. So minerals you'll find in higher altitudes. Life forms you'll generally find in lower altitudes. There is overlap of course, but for the most part if you're going looking for minerals, go high. If you're going looking for life forms, go low. So we will descend here. Now, I did mention before about slow speed of that teleport animation. My actual first computer I played this on was the Sidecar for the Amiga back in the 80s. And this landing procedure could, I kid you not, it would take over a minute to actually get all the way down. It was a long time. So we will disembark. Now, I don't know... This came packaged with a DOSBox, something or other. It's running through DOSBox. I don't know if that has any sort of CPU inhibiting to make it run slower, or if it just happens to be this way. So first thing we'll do, we'll look at our maps. It is clear, it is searing hot. That's all the other stuff we don't really care about too much. Now those little X's there are mineral deposits. Up in the right there, the date, energies. That's going down now as we move. Efficiency is how much fuel you take per movement. The higher the efficiency, the less fuel you take when you're moving. Obviously when your energy runs out, you're in trouble. So we'll pick up this chromium here, 3.9 cubic meters at a value of $260 per cubic meter. Our cargo is now 7% full. We can see our ship is 13 kilometers northeast. Now, this is why it's important for a navigator to have a good skill. If you end up in a storm and your navigator's skill is not very high, you can actually get lost. And if you end up getting lost and roaming around, scanning new terrain, check the maps again. If you're lost and you can't find your ship, and you could very easily run out of fuel. If that happens, you have to walk back to your ship on foot, which will probably mean your crew members will take damage as it happens. So unless you're quite close, they'll actually die, very likely. So that's a bad thing to happen. It's happened to me before. There was another one up here somewhere. And what else have we got here? We've got look. You can look at things. Scan. You can scan things. Weapons. You've got stunners and lasers. That's usually used for aggressive life forms. I actually want to quit that. I'm going to have to do that, aren't I? Stupid thing. Icons. This is just a list of the a key to the icons. You can find all sorts of different life forms, minerals, artifacts, ruins. Your ship and terrain vehicle gives you an elevation key. Those are the icons you see on the map here. Some more minerals. Keep an eye on energy. 69, 68. Now the efficiency. Tungsten is good. The lower your altitude, generally speaking, the better your efficiency. So you'll use a lot less. I've got to be careful here. You'll use less fuel to move at lower altitudes. Just keep an eye on the energy in comparison to the distance to the ship. There, because we're we'll head back now, northwest. Yep, north. Yeah, we've got plenty. There is a cruise control. I can't remember what. I think you hit insert, but I generally don't like to do that. And refuel and transfers all the cargo. Now, if we go and have a look at our cargo, we've got all these elements have appeared. And if we go to our science officer, get status, our cargo is now 30% full. So we can do a bit more. Actually, we'll do a bit of exploring of this solar system. Take off. There's was it 2 or 3 other planets around here? I think one of them is also reasonably good for mining from memory. And we'll go back to maneuver. Okay, so we can... No, I don't want to orbit. These planets, the brown ones there are rock. These white ones are frozen. There are also purple ones, which are gas giants. Cyan ones, which are liquid. And red ones, which are molten. So that's just a quick, you can check what sort of planets there are in the system just by looking at that the system map there. So there are life forms on here, but it's not very many minerals. It's probably not worth landing on there. Minerals of 15. So what's this one down here? I'm just amazed by all the new colours that I'm seeing that I've never seen before in this game. The good old black, white, cyan and magenta when the way they made the different colours was stripes of pixels. Alright, that's got 43% minerals. Tin, lead and gold. Well, gold is worth a fair bit, so it could be worth doing a land here, but there's a bit of land down there. You can see in that rotating planet, it's mostly ocean. So we'll have a look. Yeah, we can land. Let's land on the South Pole there. At some of the highest elevation bits that I can find. Yeah, it's pretty high. And we can disembark. You are in an electrical storm. Hollister is injured. Ship is lost. That's exactly what I was mentioning. Several things I was mentioning before. So, as long as we don't go too far away from the ship, we can still find it. But efficiency, you can see 7 and 8%, whereas it was about 13 to 15 on the other planet. Our ship is lead, 1.2. That was really worth the effort, wasn't it? Yeah. Great. You can wait if you want. Where's the status? It should tell us. Eventually the storm will dissipate, but what we can actually do is Hollister was injured. Slightly wounded, has a vitality of 82. Well, we can start treating Hollister then. My doctor's skill has not been trained, so obviously not going to be too quick. It is clear. So what we'll do now, there is actually a small bug. I'll see if I can show you very quickly. Look, 91 south. It's 92 south. This there's no world wrap once you actually land on a polar region. That's that's it. It just goes down, continues, which is kind of amusing, but doesn't really make any difference. There's just nothing there, really. There's another mineral thing up there. We'll just grab that quickly. For having a mineral value of 44, there doesn't appear to be much stuff around. Obviously, as you can see, you don't need to actually sit on the thing to pick it up. You can just be next to it. And that's everything that's around here, so we'll just... What did that say? We found another deposit. It's not the one I just picked up already, is it? No, it's 8.6 this time. Alright, but that's enough for this planet. Because we're running out of time for this episode, so... Launch. There's one more planet to have a look at. Energy now 19.8. That's landing and taking off takes energy. I don't think moving through a system takes energy, but moving through interstellar space definitely does. If your shields are up, it takes energy. Firing weapons takes energy. And the game is in real time. If you sit here doing nothing, time will continue to pass. Spacebar to orbit there. This is a big planet, this one. No minerals to speak of. 5.2 G. I believe you can land on that, but I'm not going to, because global weather very violent, so we'll just end up being in storms, and for only a mineral rating of 4, it's just not even remotely worth it. So, actually, let's just... How much cargo do I have at the moment? 40% full. Eh. That's not what I want. I could go back and look for some more minerals, I guess. We'll go back down to this one. That had the highest concentration, just had not very much land mass. So we will land. This time we'll land over here somewhere. In a different place, see if that gives us any more deposits to mine. Because this is basically the early game, is building up your cash so that you can outfit your ship, train up your crew. At the moment, that's basically all we've been given to do. We did get a message to go to a neighbouring system. I'll do that in the next episode. Because that is when the plot devices begin. But for now, it is clear, and there's something right next to me. Oh, look at that, that's much better. Yes, it is definitely possible to actually run out of space. I've only got 3 cargo pods on the ship. The all-terrain vehicle also has a limit of how much it can carry. Tin. Go down and grab this one. More tin. I'd really rather have something a bit more valuable, but beggars can't be choosers. Gold, that's what we like to see. Lots of gold is good. May be able to fit all this in the ATV. I'll show you. Look. You can look at that. 3 cubic meters of gold. I think scan in terms of minerals does the same thing. That's really only used for if you see a life form scanning, gives you some different information about it. Looking and scanning at life forms is really only particularly useful to determine if they're going to be aggressive or not. It doesn't really give you that much information that you can't find out just by moving up to them and trying to capture them anyway. So, yeah, there we go. We got a nice bit of should get a bit of money out of that. How full are our cargo pods now? 59%. Wouldn't hurt to have another quick trip, I guess, if we can find something. Don't know there'll be much out this way. Scan new terrain. There's something down there. Not much though. But it's gold, so yeah. Worth a bit of cash. Head back towards the mountains, the higher mountains, for more chance of mineral deposits. Some stuff down there. And obviously still keeping an eye on the energy left and the distance to the ship, but easily in range of that. Something there. Yeah, I should be able to get that, no problems. Ah, couple. Very good. that engine noise. PC speaker emulation. Awesome. Alright, well, yeah, we're getting a bit low on energy, so we'll head back. Right. Keep going. And we're back at the ship. Cargo 77%, that's pretty good. We've only got 3 pods, which means we can't actually carry a heap of stuff at the moment. I hope the microphone's not picking up the garbage truck out the side there. But let's head back to Starport. So notice the energy went down there, and so did the cargo percent slightly. Keep going. Yikes. Right. And we're back in. Now, time does pause when you're in Starport. The clock will not advance. Right, first thing we're going to do is go to the trade depot and sell all this crap that we got. We will sell. Now, the repair minerals. I think promethium is the only one we have, so we can sell everything else. Now, I have to type in 7.7. A lot of tin, 58.5. Gold, I think you can just type in a higher number and it sells it all. Yeah. Lead, save you, 1 or 2 keystrokes if you're really that worried. 24.4 of that. Promethium, that is a repair mineral. We'll keep that. You don't need to keep too much. It's only for in case you end up getting into combat and taking a few hits. Right, now what do I want to do? So I've got training. How much money do I have? Train my crew, and also want to upgrade some stuff. So if I buy some more engines, I can get class 3 engines to increase fuel efficiency. In order to do that, I'm going to have to sell the ones I've got. $7,000 buckaroonies left. We'll go and do a bit of a training. Now, what we want to train, importantly, science and navigation at the moment, so we'll... No, I didn't want to. I want to train. You can train you 8. That should take you to full, but I don't have much money, so I'll do 4. That'll get you quite high. Now I'll train my navigator with the rest of my cash. How much do I need to do? If I do 10, that'll put you up by 60. Yeah, that's reasonably high. If I do 8 of you, 218, that's good. I might also start training the cat a bit, because we're going to start doing some exploring soon, and so if we end up running into any enemies, we want to make sure we can talk to them. 138, right. That should take care of pretty much all my cash. Now, the one thing you always want to do at Starport is check new messages, especially this early in the game. 2nd of January. It is necessary to give you some unpleasant news. You may have been aware that for the last several years, scientists have been observing anomalous fluctuations in the radiation levels of our Sun. While you have been away, it has been ascertained that the stability of our Sun is definitely deteriorating. How much time we have until there is a fatally large flare, we are still not sure, but there is little doubt that this will eventually occur. So now we're starting to get into the story of the game. As yet, we have no clue as to the cause of this instability, therefore we must assume there is nothing we can do to change the situation. In view of this, the only option available to us is to get as many colonists off of Earth as we can. You can be invaluable to us in this. First, we need Endurium to power the ships we will build. We will pay well for any that you can bring back. Secondly, we need to know where to send the colonists. As you may have already discovered, your ship is equipped with homing drones, which you may use to log your recommendations. This is so that we can move the colonists out as quickly as possible. In addition, a sensor has been installed which will inform you of the stellar condition upon entering a system. Your ship computer will inform you in the event that a flare is imminent. We advise caution while in systems which are more than slightly unstable. Being caught in a solar flare would certainly be fatal. In your manual, we have outlined the criteria which will be important in your evaluation of viable colony worlds. You will be rewarded for recommendations of valuable planets and penalised for recommendations of planets which turn out to be uninhabitable. Consider carefully before logging a planet. Next message, 3rd of Jan. To all captains, one of our ships was just destroyed by what reports indicate to be androids approximately 20 sectors directly forward of Earth. When passing through this area, proceed with caution. End of notices. Now, a lot of stuff there you'll need to write down in the messages from earlier in the session and just then. I have them all written down already, but I'll follow the clues as I achieve. I'll try not to cheat by looking in advance. But I will mark down that I've found several messages here. We've got to go up to the system that's just near where we are. There's androids over to the Coreward. There are a couple of locations we were told to look out for. But that is going to have to wait for the next episode because we are out of time for now. So thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye bye.